seek first to understand before being understood. And I think that's a very good conclusion. A very nice saying as well, because I also joined here, and I joined the operations for 2 or 3 months, dishwashing, doing everything that everyone did here. Because I'm not the guy that just, indeed what I just said, sits on the chair and directs everyone everywhere.
Welcome to our podcast, The Future of Hospitality. I'm your host, Arjan Eikelenboom, and today our guest is Xander Verheij, General Manager of The Nobleman in Amsterdam. Xander, welcome to our show.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm glad to see you. First, a little bit about Nobleman. That's in the canal, on the canals, right?
It's on Leidsegracht, in the middle of the city center. It's quite a quiet canal, so that's quite convenient. Although it's only a 5-minute walk to the city center. So yeah,
wonderful. We're going to speak about that a little more later on. First, I would like you to introduce yourself. Who is Xander?
Xander is 24 years old, and I would like to immediately highlight that I still see my hospitality career to be just right at the start. However, I started working in hospitality now 10 years ago when I was 14.
14?
14, yes, correct.
Okay, I will remember that because... Go ahead.
Yeah, in the hotel of my father, actually. I was born and raised in the south of the Netherlands, in a town called Waalwijk. My father had a hotel there with around 70 rooms, some meeting rooms, a restaurant, a bar. Everything was there to learn. And yeah, that's where it all started. All the basics, carrying trays, some basics about customer service. We did the breakfast a lot of times together for the whole hotel. So it was really cool to start off my career with my dad in his
That's
hotel.
how you started at 14 years old. That's because your dad, your parents have a hotel.
Yes.
That makes sense. Go ahead.
Yeah, and from there, although I have to say it was a big pleasure to work with my father in the hotel. Also, he sold it a couple of years later. But I decided that I really wanted to create my own career path, let's say, and not fully follow into his footsteps. So I started to do some side jobs in hospitality, restaurants, bars, cafes, everything in Brabant. Eventually, there was only one choice to start studying hospitality as well. It was my passion from 14 years old, and I directly dove into it as studies as well. I did 2 years of MHBO, so something in between MBO and HBO, on the Roy Panne in Tilburg.
Right.
And there was a connection with the BUAS, the Breda University of Applied Sciences, where I could go for 3 years to the higher hotel school. Let's call it like that. That was a beautiful period as well. I was way more motivated on the higher level than on the lower level, I have to say. After that, after my studies, I decided to do something completely different.
I was going to say, before you continue, because I was going to say, so you automatically, you moved because the hotel in the family, you moved to the hotel school. And I was like, wasn't there a moment where you thought, hey, maybe I want to do something else? But that came later.
That came later, I have to say. Yeah. I went very fluently from starting working in side jobs at the hotel of my dad to also start studying hospitality. And then there came the urge to think like, hey, there's a lot of other things going on. And I have to say it was also at the end of COVID, where I decided, I just want to try something else in my life at least once. And I thought right after my studies would be the best moment because I rounded off my internship, my studies. So yeah, I could try something else. I did account management at a platform for freelancers, something completely different. It was a bit related to hospitality because I had some clients in that industry. But for the rest, it was a completely different way of being in contact with people, mostly on the phone, trying to sell something, trying to convince them. Where in the hotel industry, you're welcoming people that chose you for how you brand yourself, and not going towards them to get the acquisition there, let's say. I realized quickly it wasn't for me after a month almost already. Mostly like, about the contact.
Not for me. Not for me.
It is the hospitality business that really attracts me. And I really wanted to give it a chance because that's also who I am. I think I don't want to say after a month, nothing for me. I will go on to the next challenge. I want to give it a proper chance. So I stayed there for 8 months, and I remained in close contact with my previous employer, where I also completed my internship. And she said, "Why don't you just come back, rejoin hospitality?"
Which employer was that? What property was that?
That was Hotel 27 in Amsterdam.
Hotel 27. That's in the city center of Amsterdam on the Dam Square.
Correct.
It's an iconic building and institution almost. 27.
You could call it like that. Yeah, it's a very unique hotel, suite-only boutique hotel with 16 suites, ranging from 45 square meters, the rooms, and the biggest one was 240 square meters, if I'm not mistaken. So a Michelin-starred restaurant, a very high-end bar, and therefore a great place to learn a lot of things. So a very valuable time there. That's where I did my internship.
So the owner asked you back. So let me backpedal a little bit because you ended up working there and we missed that part. Can you tell us about how you ended up at 27? Because of the fact that I think it's an institution and it is beautiful. Everyone should go there. The restaurant is amazing. The bar is amazing. So you ended up there. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
So my studies at the Roy Panne, we actually had a field trip to Amsterdam. And one of the hotels that we toured was actually 27. And yeah, the impression I got there remained with me for the entirety of my studies. And when I was doing my studies in Breda, I had to do another internship. Mm-hmm. And that tour was so clear in my head still, like all the corners. And I was so impressed by the design and by everything. I thought, well, let's go for it. There was a position open as a personal assistant to general manager, basically a management assistant. I thought, let's just go for it and see how it goes. And the general manager, I immediately had a very good bond with her during the talk. Right after the talk, she said, well, we're going to go for it. We're going to do it together. I want you in. So I started my internship. That's how it started. Okay. And yeah.
So what did you do at that? Because I want to go a little bit deeper into that position, because that's really what formed you, I guess, to where you are now. So what was your daily? How did your days look like?
Well, I was in the beginning. I was really shadowing the general manager in terms of everything she did, and I think that was the greatest way to start, because I had no clue what it meant to be a general manager, what it looked like, what the responsibilities were, how the hierarchy was towards the staff as well in an organization like that. Because we had 90 people of staff, even though it's a small hotel with 16 suites, and
that's so relatively small indeed. And
yes. So
I can only imagine that guests then even demand more because it's so small.
Certainly, yes, and especially since it's on Dam Square, it's so multicultural, and the variety of people you see on Dam Square in the middle of Amsterdam, that's also the variety that you have in the hotel.
Yeah,
and
okay.
In terms of everything, in terms of culture, in terms of budget as well. Some people, they save money for an entire year to spend only one night with their beloved ones, while others spend money like there's no tomorrow. You can imagine that. So, and I think that's one of the most valuable things about hospitality, and especially in Amsterdam, there is no average guest. So also the expectations, they go all over the place. Let's call it like that. And being able to manage those expectations from all these different people in the best way possible, that's the greatest challenge we have every day in hospitality, I believe. And I really started learning about that at 27. But also the responsibilities of a manager, of course, started there. General manager really put great trust in me, which I still really much appreciate. There were days that I was the only manager in the property as an intern. So that was really special. And that could be administration, that could be scheduling, that could be writing procedures, that could be training new staff members. Went everywhere, checking bills. The not the highest level of management tasks.
No, but you were in the middle of it at a very young age. That's what I find so remarkable and inspiring, I think, for a lot of people, because you don't have to go through all these levels you can dive into the deep, which what you did, and all these responsibilities were thrown into your lap, and you just grabbed them. Hey, this is what I need to do, and I did it. So I want to hear more about that because that is really inspiring.
So you mean like the question, what do you need to do to have like?
Well, you had more experience. You also had an internship in Barcelona at the Ritz-Carlton, right?
That's correct. And
okay,
that's where
tell me a little bit more, and then we go back to 27.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So my internship in Barcelona was during my studies at the Roy Panne in Tilburg. I moved to Barcelona for half a year for the internship, and that was one of the most crazy times I ever had. The best time, maybe even in hospitality still, for a half a year being able to. I was doing an internship in the executive club lounge there as a concierge, as a front desk agent, but also a bit on the F&B side. We were basically running a small hotel of 30 rooms inside a larger hotel, which had almost 600 rooms on the very highest standard you could imagine. Of course, it's a Ritz-Carlton property, so it was also good for me to get familiar with what working for a brand meant.
Because that was your first brand, right?
That was was my first brand. Yeah,
right,
yeah.
And not the smallest one. I mean, the Ritz-Carlton, and like you mentioned, they have hundreds of rooms, and they have a club area, club lounges, and club rooms, club lounge, and you were responsible for that. So walk me a little bit through your daily activities at that particular property.
Yeah, so we started the day by setting up the breakfast. It was located on the 30th floor of the building, so we had a beautiful view. It's right at the sea. It's a tower at the sea. So every day was so special to me to basically wake up with this view, prepare the breakfast for the guests. At the same time, you could have people checking in, asking for recommendations for the city, because you were also their front desk and concierge agent. And they had 5 different buffets during the day. And for the rest, you had all the tasks that you have in a hotel, besides all the housekeeping part. So what I said, the check-in, the check-out, managing the bills, but also that concierge part was a really big part of the job, since Ritz-Carlton is known for its high standard of service.
Yeah,
of course,
absolutely.
It attaches a lot of Americans to the brand, which are always a perfect example of how you can be the great concierge, I would like to say. They really would like to know everything about the city, and in a very expressive, inspiring way. I have to say I was quite an introvert person first when I started working in hospitality.
Oh, really?
I find it quite hard to properly mingle in with people and go into the social contact, let's say like that.
Yeah.
But that developed a lot over the years. And
how long did you work there? For how long?
The Ritz-Carlton was only in internship for 6 months. So
6 months, but oh my God! But it felt like what I'm hearing. It felt like a few years.
Felt like a few years, yeah. And I have to say, all the experience I have felt as a few years, because I think that's a good conclusion. What you just mentioned, that you just have to jump in on it, step away from all the expectations that you might have about the job, go within a bit of common sense, maybe just jump in it with a clear mindset and try to learn everything that's possible there. Yeah. And I think if you have the right motivation and passion to learn things, actually, then with this mindset you will also...
I like how you explain and how you draw that picture of the Ritz-Carlton in Barcelona, because you, just a few minutes before, you mentioned that you started a career or tried a career in account management, and you immediately felt, this is not me. You didn't have that with the Ritz-Carlton, did you? Even though you were trying to find your way in there, but there was this spark inside of you that knew, okay, this is what I want.
Exactly. And I really have to say that's where it all started, especially the spark for the luxury hospitality industry, because I think that's really where you have to manage these expectations, as I just managed. That's where also people really expect you to take the step forward towards them rather than a step back and just check you in and enjoy your room, goodbye. That's completely like that. So in order to develop myself as a person, and I think that's where it's a bit underlying image of why I was motivated to learn about the industry, is I wanted to develop myself as a person. And I think in that high industry, you're confronted with so many different people on a daily basis. both internally as externally that time, because also the team itself with the colleagues, they came from all over the world. They only selected the best students from certain schools to be able to do the internship in the club lounge back then. So both with the colleagues as with the guests, you really had to transform yourself as a person in order to manage it properly. And I found that so interesting, the human psychology behind it, to look someone in his eyes and understand what he feels and what he might need and what he expects from a stay. And on the other hand, from a colleague, what he or she might expect from you when you're working with him. That's still what inspires me every day, I have to say.
And that is the spark and the essence of hospitality that is naturally inside of you. And I really, I'm glad that you just spoke this out, because this is what it's about.
Yeah, to me it is, for sure.
That is for sure. So that's the Ritz-Carlton. You 6 months in the Ritz-Carlton in Barcelona. You also worked at the DoubleTree next to Central Station in Amsterdam.
Yeah, there was also an
Tell me something about that.
That was a very special period, I have to say. That was in the middle of COVID.
In the middle of COVID, so they were open?
They were softly opened, yeah. There were still some people allowed to travel, but yeah, it was very little. The occupancy there was between 5 and 10% on average during my whole internship, I think. So with a hotel of almost 600 rooms again, that's with all the staff they did have in-house, which they still had to maintain, it's not a challenge in terms of that. I was supposed to do a duty management internship there. And of course, DoubleTree is a Hilton brand, and I already had a Marriott brand. So that's actually one of the reasons I chose it, because I really wanted to compare, like, hey, how is Marriott compared to Hilton? And on the other hand, also how is the luxury industry compared to the bit less high luxury industry? Yeah. It was a 4-star hotel, a very big hotel as well. But it ended up being in the middle of COVID, so there was not a lot of communication with the guests and a lot to learn. So we ended up doing some maintenance in the hotel, actually, with the whole intern crew. We painted some walls, we renovated a roof garden, and it was a very special time, I have to say. I don't look back on it very negatively, because it was out of everyone's hands.
It's an experience.
It was, you connected with the people in a very different way. I have to say, internally with staff, we got so close. And after everything we did, we were working on the roof for a whole day, basically, just to renovate the garden. And
you were renovating, you were working on the roof, renovating, etc. at the DoubleTree. And you did that with colleagues who were also just working in the hotel normally, but all of a sudden they had this extra shift because there were no guests.
Exactly. So both people that were already employed there, just on the payroll, as well as interns that also applied for an internship at the same period. And that was basically the only thing that could be done. And there were some things that I could still learn. And eventually, I believe I have a picture of how it could be if it was really busy, in terms of all the procedures and how the check-in would go there. Everything. They have a lot of restaurants as well. So no, I'm not looking back on it in a negative way, but it was certainly very interesting. It's
a good experience, because most of your career right now, because you're still very young, is post-COVID, and COVID is now. It's 5 years ago since it started. It lasted for a year and a half with lockdowns, and I remember that because I live in the city center of Amsterdam, so I know everything about it. That's a good experience. And after that, is it that when you went to 27?
After that, I did the internship at 27. Yeah, that's correct.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me, indeed. So you ended up at 27. You were like the assistant to the general manager, or the PA, as you called it yourself. Yep. You just walked us through your daily activities. Is it also there after Ritz-Carlton and this property? 27 is independent, right? Doesn't belong to a chain. It's okay. So, How was that different?
It was different in terms of a lot of things, I have to say. You really feel that you're dependent on who's above you, way more than in a larger chain hotel, I would say, because there you always have these standards that are there, and a manager can be a manager there, but the standards will always count twice as hard as his own philosophy. Not always. It depends a bit, of course, on the type of brand and how the brand is incorporated into the business. It could also be franchises in terms of way. But I feel that if you work in a boutique environment, the influence of the owner and the managers is of way greater value than in a larger brand. And that's what was really special to me, since I had a very good connection with the general manager, that she also really invested in me. I thought like, hey, this guy really suits to this concept and to my vision as well. I want to
He
learn.
listened to you.
Sorry?
He listened to you.
She.
Sorry. Oh,
No worries.
my assumption. There we go.
No worries about that.
So she opened up. I mean, that is what I like about these days. Things are changing. Times are changing. I just had to talk about this with someone else. That even general managers, people at C-level, they are opening up to the young people coming into the property, and they want to hear their vision. They want to learn from them. So sorry for interrupting, but I think that's very beautiful. Go ahead.
Yeah. And for the rest, in terms of the boutique environment, of course, we will always be closer into contact with the guests. After my internship, I, of course, did the account management, and I came back. I was the head of the butler department, but maybe we can save that a bit. As a management
the head of the
assistant
butler department. I mean, I have to repeat that because it's not something that all people know about. What does that mean?
No, and especially in the Dutch hospitality industry, it's something very unique, I can say.
I think so, yeah.
There's only 3 hotels in Amsterdam, and I think maybe a few more somewhere else in the Netherlands that does it. But the butler department was there for anything you could imagine for the guests. So in terms of, you also had a bit of the concierge role, but we also did the room service there. During my time, I also started implementing, serving some of the dishes of the one Michelin-starred restaurant into the suites. Which was a very big challenge, but yeah, a very cool addition to being a butler there as well, being able to serve it like that. But also the traditional things you could imagine, like ironing or washing clothes for guests, tidying up the room, folding clothes, packing luggage, everything like that was also included. Yeah.
Wow, wonderful. So after that, why did you leave 27?
Well, I completed my internship there.
Okay.
So, and after I also wrote my thesis at 27 while I remained working part-time. Mm-hmm. Then I completed my studies. And then was the moment that this spark came up, the urge to try something else, which I'm also not ashamed of. I'm very glad.
No. I mean, that says a lot about you. I mean, and I recognize that. Hey, I'm done here. I used to have... I'm old enough for that. When I look back, I've got a 3-year cycle. I either leave before 3 years are over, or I stay a lot longer. That's
yeah. Well, that's how I like to express my career always a little bit. That it should be an exponential growth. So you could grow in a certain way in your position, but if you feel that there's no exponential growth to it, and maybe that's a bit exaggerated. But I really want to look a step ahead always, like, hey, I can be there the coming year. Or if I really do my best and I go for it 100%, then yeah, it could also be something else. And I think then that grows a bit naturally as well. I'm very glad to be still this young, being in this position. But that passion for that really came during my first internship at Ritz-Carlton, and it never left.
It never left. That's clear.
That one moment that I wanted to try something else.
but that's beautiful. Trying something again. Like I said, you need to try. And now, I think that's an interesting story in itself, because then you applied for this position at the Nobleman. How did that go?
Yeah, that's correct. I started looking for something else. I was not actively looking for another job, because it had to be a really nice one in order to have it even better as the head of the butler department, because I was really enjoying it at 27 as well. But it came on my path, the general manager position at Hotel The Nobleman. And I thought, well, if I have a good click with the owner and the concept suits my vision, this could be a really cool place to work. So I just went for it. I sent a motivation letter together with my CV. And within 1 minute after applying, the owner, Niels Sandberg, he gave me a call. I've never experienced something like this. I also found it super strange that after 1 minute I had him on the phone. So I was a bit shocked, but it was really cool. And he said to me, I'm currently doing the application for this position. I have several people that I'm talking with right now, and I would love to include you in the round. So let's go for it next week. I said, well, that's quick. Let's go for it next week. I went for the talk, of course. I immediately had a very good connection, at least from my side. That's how it felt. It's a very, very unique concept. We can dive into that a bit later. But I was doing the talk with him. I was feeling very comfortable. I heard about the job and I was super excited. And Niels was telling me, well, yeah, you are quite young. I'm not really sure if I have the trust, which again, I can fully understand because, I am very young and my experience is also not that broad that you say like, hey, we're going for it and I'm 100% sure. So he said to me, well, I'll think about it for a few days and I will come back to you within 3 days, I think it was. So that's where it started. And then I went home with the train. I was in the train and he sent me a text right after the talk. I think it was half an hour after the talk, literally. And he said, well, I think the connection was really good. We had a good click. So I thought, why not? Let's go for it. And then he already sent me the offer. And that also pinpointed for me like, hey, okay, this is the place. I have to go for it because I like to communicate in this way as well. If the connection is there, don't think about it for 100 times. Of course, if you have a lot of other good candidates, then
go for it.
Welcome. Yeah, but go for it. Yeah, if you feel the connection is there and you had a good talk, just do it.
All right.
That's how it originated.
Did he ever tell you? Obviously, he saw your qualities, but did you ever talk about it later? Later on, hey, it was really short. How did you do that? Why did you do that?
I think we did not talk about it explicitly anymore, but I think it's just to conclude that he really felt that the connection was there. And he's young himself as well. He's 33, if I'm not mistaken, 33, 34. And of course, I'm also very young. Everything is already going very well. It was already going very well before I joined, in terms of guest satisfaction, in terms of operations, in terms of HR, in terms of budget. Everything was already on a very good level, I would say. But he's so motivated to improve it even more, which also, really stood out to me. And he said, "I'm not looking for someone that has been in the industry already for 30 years." With a lot of experience that is going to tell me how to do certain things. I want to have someone young join the team who has his own vision and that we can do it together in some sort of way.
And also it's and the Nobleman, it's a well-known hotel on the canals, Keizersgracht, as you said. It's a relatively small property, even smaller than 27, less rooms. So it's very, I would say, intimate.
Yes, I think intimate is...
Tell me more about your daily activities and about the hotel itself, so people can have a clear picture of what it looks like.
Yeah, so as I said, we are located on Leidsegracht, actually.
On Leidsegracht, sorry, Keizersgracht.
No worries at all. We have 13 rooms, and all of our rooms, they are dedicated to one of the noblemen of Dutch history. Of course, there's way more, but we chose 13. The owner chose 13. So they all have their own theme, and the storytelling, that's what makes the hotel really special. First of all, we're located in a very old building of 1663. There's marble, still original marble on the floors, on the ground floor and the first floor. It used to belong to a French marble trader, the building. So the first moment you enter, you directly involve yourself into something really old.
I should have stepped in. I passed it millions of times on my walks through Amsterdam, but and I remember seeing it so many times, but I never stepped foot in. I will do that the next time, though.
Please do so. Please do so. More than welcome. But indeed, we have 13 rooms, so indeed a very small property. We don't have a restaurant nor a bar, so I'm fully focused on the hotel side for now. Although I'm also very interested in F&B. I love F&B, to be honest. We're so intimate and small. The storytelling, let's come back to that. It's everywhere. When you're at the reception, we have a booklet with story about all the noblemen. When you enter the rooms, we'll always guide you to the room, which is quite a standard in luxury hospitality, of course. But we stop on the first floor because right there we have a huge painting with all the 13 noblemen on it. We always stop with the guests and say like, hey, this is our story. That's your nobleman. That's your guy. Let's call it like that. He was the inventor of the submarine, or Rembrandt van Rijn, who was the painter of the night watch. I'm going to proceed right now with you to the room. And in the room, you have a lot of details that also refer back to the nobleman. So the lighting, closets of curiosities. When you open the TV, we have a whole introduction movie of how the owner, together with the designer, created the hotel. So all the furnitures, all the lighting as well. Everything is antique in the hotel, or is handmade for the hotel. So that was also the vision of Niels, of the owner, that it should be timeless, the concept, because you could design a hotel that lasts for 10 or 15 years, and then it gets outdated. But antique and nobleman and the history has been here for hundreds of years already. So why would there be a reason to have it outdated in the coming 50 or 60 or 100 or 300 years even? So that was a bit of the idea, a bit of sustainable idea as well, of course. The quality of all the furniture, of course, it's antique, but it's really good because it has been here already for so many years. But especially that storytelling is what really speaks to people, because also these noblemen have a great relation to the city. We have the brothers Tripp, who were weapon traders. They have a huge, used to have a huge home on the Kloveniersburg Wall in Amsterdam. It's a very wide property with huge cannons on top that depicted their wealth back then. Of course, Rembrandt van Rijn, he lived in the city. There's a statue of Spinoza, which is one of our noblemen. So there's also a lot of historical relations to the city with the concept. And yeah, the unique design.
Sounds
and
amazing to me.
The intimate setting, that's what really attracts people here.
Sounds really good. About yourself, what kind of leader do you want to be in this industry? What are your aspirations?
Yeah, it's good to call it my aspirations, because I'm still developing every single day, and I think everyone will be, even if you're already have 30 years of experience. But still, I think that's maybe one of the cool things, that I also realize that I still have to learn a lot. I'm not the guy that steps into a property and directly sits on the chair and say, "Hey, we do this like that, and I think we could improve there. So you, have a look how we can fix that." And I think our ex-prime minister Mark Rutte said it yesterday on the NATO, and it's not that I'm a particular fan of the whole situation, but seek first to understand before being understood. And I think that's a very good conclusion. A very nice saying as well, because I also joined here, and I joined the operations for 2 or 3 months, dishwashing, doing everything that everyone did here, because I'm not the guy that just, indeed what I just said, sits on the chair and directs everyone everywhere. I want to be the type of leader that inspires people by practice, and that's a bit common sense. You always want to show your best version and want people to follow that. But in order to achieve that, and I think being young, working with young people is very nice in that regards, because it's just easier to level with people. You know what's going on in their private lives. They want to go for a party on Friday. You can relate to that. I'm also still young, and you can just be very honest to me, and I want to be a very honest leader that says to his staff, like, "Hey, I'm here to learn a lot in this new position I'm going into. I'm going to join you for 3 months in the operations full time. I will give it my best. You will see what you think from me." And that's where we start. We don't start from any other point. That's I think where every relationship should start, from manager to we call our team ambassadors. So that's the type of leader I would like to be, and also would like to remain.
Wonderful. Sounds good to me.
Yeah,
about the hotel, that is probably the end of our talk. There's a new hotel coming, right?
There is a new hotel coming.
Can you tell me a bit about that?
I can't tell you too much about it, but I have been there today for the second time, and it's a hotel with 42 rooms, so it's about three times bigger than this one. But we will try to get into the same concept as we have right now. The sister of Niels also has a hotel in the Amsterdam city center, Hotel the Craftsman,
I know that
which
one.
is very much related to Hotel Nobleman, of course, which Niels started 2 years after Michel, 3. But indeed, there's a lot of new things going on as well, and it's going very fast because I've only been here for 6 months since December, and now there's already a new opportunity going on, and of course the focus will be all here. And,
I can only imagine you will be bored at a large hotel where you only have to, do your job, as they say, because you are so well developed in such a short time. That's what I hear. And being responsible on all levels, and you know every single detail of the hotel. You are forming yourself into, I think, a good leader. That's what I'm hearing.
That's a great compliment.
Yeah. I like it. I really like this journey of yours. Yeah. What is maybe an advice that you can give to people who want to start a career in hospitality, or maybe students at the hotel school or at the hotel schools? Can you give them maybe 1 or 2 pieces of advice from yourself?
I think what I just explained regarding the leadership, not thinking that if you finish your hotel management studies that you can be a hotel manager within the first second because you have the paper in your pocket, let's say it like that. That's not how it works. You have to continuously involve yourself into all the layers of the hotel in order to be respected. I think that's a good lesson. And don't feel sorry for yourself, because it is working hard. Hospitality is known for having to work hard, and you shouldn't be afraid of it. But if it's the case that you have to work a lot of hours a week, really have to give it your all, and you come home with great energy, that's a good sign. That's what I always had in certain positions, and in some a bit less. But you have to understand that sometimes you can't feel sorry for yourself. And also don't take feedback from guests personally. If I would sell a product, a beautiful pen, that's the easiest example always, of course, and you don't like it, I'm not going to take it personal. Because, it's just a pen and maybe you don't like the design. But if you provide service to someone and someone says to you like, hey, I don't like how this is going. I think the service is really bad here. Your tone of voice isn't good. Then it's really easy to take it personal, because actually it is personal. But it's also not to take it personal. I think that's where the largest growth is. And that's the greatest advice, because if you would take it personal, then you would immediately come up with excuses for yourself. Like, oh, this guest, he doesn't like my tone of voice, but I always do it like this. So why doesn't he like me? But if you reflect on it, like if you would sell a pen, like, oh, maybe the design isn't good enough, then I should improve the design in this and this and that way. And you can also shape yourself. And that's where people are a bit hesitant in sometimes. But being able to do so and being able to open yourself up for that, I think that's where the growth comes from, the exponential growth.
Wonderful. Let's end with this. Xander, thank you so much for being on our show and giving us your insights and your experiences.
You're more than welcome. It was a pleasure.